I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, December the 13th, brought to you in part by VitaFirm. VitaFirm is nutritional supplements purposefully crafted to maximize energy and forage utilization at every stage of your cattle's production by making sure your herd is receiving optimal digestive health and nutrition. For more information, go to vitafirm.com. Choice boxes Soar. And if you remember, exactly a week ago on a Monday, your choice boxes dumped about $6.62. Well, on Monday, this Monday, yesterday, choice boxes were up $8.09. So we figured turnabout's fair play, right? So I would assume everybody that's participating in your cattle futures, which like it or not, we're kind of a slave to here in our fundamental commercial markets. Your board dumped last Tuesday. It should soar this Tuesday here. We saw that some of your cattle sellers in the Texas Panhandle, they started base jumping $2 lower than the previous week's market, and then by the end of the week, last week, your market was actually a little bit higher in the Southern Plains than it was the previous week, all the way up to 156 in a lot of places. So I think turnabout fair play. I think I would expect the same type of a reaction. You know, we don't mind them juking and jiving with our commercial markets as long as they're fair, and they do it the same on both sides. But I doubt it's going to happen that way. Didn't even see much of your market analysts, media Monday late day talking a whole bunch about the choice boxes being up over $8, which is ginormous. And then I'm sure they're not expecting to get a similar type reaction on the other side of the coin as what we had last week. And like I say all the time, as an industry, we just put so much pressure, especially on that live cattle contract, that it doesn't take anything for your speculators and your funds and them to make it dump. But that's what happened on Monday. So we'll see what happens here on Tuesday, and we'll see whether or not we get anything that's similar. I haven't talked for a few days about your fake meat industry. I wanted to fill you guys in that haven't seen that. The largest cell-cultured fake meat plant. I've been telling you, up until now, we've pretty much just been seeing your plant-based fake meat, which is just mashed up peas for the most part with liquid smoke and a shitload of salt mixed in there with it. Well, now we've got cell-cultured fake meat where they go and draw some blood or some kind of tissue samples from some cattle, some actual cattle, and then they stick it into a petri dish, put a bunch of stuff on it and make it grow, and then they're going to use that mash to make something that's supposed to be similar to real meat, which that for me, it takes even a bigger imagination to make believe that I would eat something like that. But this is the largest cell-cultured fake meat plant. It's going to be going up in North Carolina. It's from an Israeli group or company called Believer Meat. They're going to spend $123 million initially on this plant. It's a 200,000 square foot plant. And what they're going to focus on is getting that mash and then kind of stamping it up where it looks something like some meat. And then they're actually going to put a 3D print on there to make it a little more agreeable to the eye. They feel like that's one thing that the plant-based meat didn't do very well, was look very appealing to customers in the meat case, or it shouldn't even be in the meat case, should be on the extreme other side of the grocery store from real meat. But that's just what's going on with that, guys. Also, Farmer's Friend, JBS, they had some more bad news early this week that the workers in a Denver processing plant where they just further process both beef and pork for JBS, they have voted to strike. saying that JBS is changing working conditions without letting their union groups bargain upon those changes. And I sure can't imagine JBS doing anything like that. But media gets a hold of that. Your futures traders get a hold of that. It might be something to look out on, that it could hurt our market right here at the holidays. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. It's just something to mention, guys. Talk about your board on Monday. December live cattle futures up 72 cents at 154.40. February up 55 cents at 156.10. Your back months on live cattle up 25 cents to up 55 cents. Your January feeder cattle contracts were down 27 cents, mostly because corn was a little bit higher, at 183.65. March was up 12 cents at 185.22. Back months on feeder cattle were unchanged to up 30 cents. Chicago Board of Trade corn futures up 6.5 cents a bushel at 641.25 at the end of regular trading. Beans down 23.25 cents. How would you like to make your living speculating in the soybean market? I mean, it would drive you to drinking heavily. Down 23.25 cents, ending regular trading on Monday at 14.60.5 cents a bushel. Talk about your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade out of your 5-area feeding region, only 52,700 head. Now just think, 52,700 head sold direct basis out of all the feedlots in your 5-area feeding region there. On the other side of the coin, Oklahoma City had 14,000 feeder cattle last week. It doesn't seem like enough. 52,700 head. That compared to 65,200 the week before, which was light, and 55,900 head the same week a year ago. Live sales of steers and heifers last week ranged in price from 153 to 158.50. It was mostly 154 to 157. The 153 on the low side, there was only 2,100 head that sold that way. There was 1,600 head that sold 158 plus. So, the bulk of your sales are right in the middle there. That range, price range, would be 50 cents lower than last week. Weighted average on live steers last week was 155.79, down 63 cents from your previous week. A lot of it to do with those boxes being down, not nearly as much as they were up on Monday, but that was a week ago Monday when they were down so much. Your dress sales last week ranged in a more narrow range from 243 to 247. There was only 400 head at the 243, about 11,500 at the 247. The rest of them were mostly 246. That range was $2 lower. Weighted average on dress steers was 246.82. That was $1.73 lower than last week. You compare that to a brick and mortar sale last week. At Yankton, South Dakota, last Tuesday, they sold cattle from 152 to 159.50, with drug-free or non-implanted program cattle up to 164. Your nationwide negotiated sales last week totaled only 59,200. That is ridiculous on a non-holiday week, guys. Compared to the previous week, which was 77,500, and the same week a year ago was 66,600. That meager 59,200 negotiated sale nationwide, only 6,200 of those, are about 10% sold with the 15 to 30 day delivery, so they're going to be short on that, but they really didn't need that with the holidays falling right in there. They're probably going to have enough cattle they can pull up through grid or through sweetheart deal, formula deals, that they can get through the holidays on the lighter kill and and finish out the month that way. So they may not be real aggressive the rest of the week, but they're probably going to have to buy some cattle this week, and I don't know why we should sell them any cheaper. But negotiated sales, like I told you, nationwide were 59,200. Negotiated grid totaled 36,200 head, and forward contracts of 16,000 head. Formula, sweetheart, non-competitive type arrangements 257,400 head. And I told you the first criteria of getting into one of those Formula Sweetheart deals is you promise all your cattle to one packer, eliminating all competition. Box beef cutout values, I've been talking about them ever since I started this report, which seems like a long time ago. Choice cuts up $8.09. Wow, at $257.02 on Monday afternoon. Selects were also up, but just $4.42 with select price on boxes at $225.68. Choice select spread on Monday afternoon was $31.34. Slaughter for the first day of the week, 125,000, which is pretty darn respectable. Talk about what else is going on. Beaver County Stockyards, we do a lot with them. They've got a good sale here on Tuesday. Going to have 4,000 head, at least 1,000 hard yearlings. And then he said there'll be some other short yearlings there, but at least 1,000 old crop hard yearlings. Most of them be black and high in quality. Be a good amount of shorter yearlings. And like he said, you know, if we go much further, we're going to have to start calling those yearlings too. But they're long calves, long weaned calves. Got a yearling look to them, a lot of them do. And be a lot of lightweight peewee calves here today on Tuesday. As you know, we do a lot with Beaver County Stockyards, one of our favorite markets there down here in the Southern Plains. Jeff Slatton's become a good friend of ours, and he likes to do things, and he's a good guy. He's quite a character, and he's wanting to do something a little special. We decided that Feeder Flash is going to be involved in a special feeder cattle auction that he's going to have on January 10th, and we have billed this sale the Feeder Flash Beaver Clash. If you don't like that, there's something wrong with you. But January 10th, if you got some consignments to sell early in the year, we think it'd be a good time to bring them in there. We'll be doing some other things that we'll announce as we go forward, talking about the Feeder Flash Beaver Clash. But the sponsorship of that special feeder cattle sale is by Farapiece, which is a product that a lot of you guys have heard of that helps these calves get weaned. You put it around the pole and around the muzzle there, and somehow or another it calms them down. And been talking to a lot of people that said that product has really been helping them. The calves are not as stressed, they don't get as sick, and just makes the weaning process so much easier. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Monday, sitting at 178.10. That was down 14 cents from the end of last week. Also want to talk about Night Latch Group. That's Andy Cunningham. He sells the livestock policies that's through USDA that get some government assistance with those premiums there. But he's more focused on the livestock gross margin policy, which he's kind of figured out, and he can show you how that works, and you can basically manage the risk on your cattle, on your corn, both at the same time in one easy policy. And he'd like for you to give him a call, and he'll explain that to you. But you can get more information on that at nightlatch.net. Talk about your big sales on Monday. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, 10,700 head. Good run for them. Feeders were unevenly steady, but spots sharply higher. And I did notice that they had several consignments in there that were marked fancy, and they had plenty of buyers for those. Those would be your old crop cattle that really have the condition on them. And it might be some short yearlings there that really high in quality, but they had buyers there for those, and whenever they came into the market, the prices left the normal price range. Is why you call those cattle fancy. You call about steer calves were unevenly steady. Heifer calves $3 to $5 lower. Joplin Regional Stockyards is your Zoetis stick out sale of the day. 7,300 head for them. You look at this automated market report, and I'll tell you that the trend that they called it was steers steady to $5 higher, heifers steady to $4 higher. But look at your best tested weights. 944 head of 5-weight steer calves, average 549 at 190.20. And if you've ever been in Southwest Missouri, you'll know how very impressive that is. 1,019 head of 6-weight steer calves, averaged 645, with a weighted average price on all those 6-weight steers of 178.53. Go down to the heifers, 820 head of 5-weight heifer calves, averaged 550 pounds, with a weighted average price on all of them, not just the blacks or the solid colored ones, all of them, of 163.95. We've also got the top quote coming out of Joplin at the end of the report. Give you some individual quotes. How about Elgin livestock sales in Elgin, Nebraska? My buddy Ted Baum sold 95 steers, weighed 666 at 205.25 in eastern Nebraska. How about a market we don't talk about very much, and it's really off the beaten path, but got a pretty good market? Headwaters Livestock in Three Forks, Montana. They sell 163 steers in one whack. They weigh 852 and bring $175. A long, long ways and a lot of snowy trails between there and the 5-area feeding region, guys. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, your Mackerson, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Joplin Regional Stockyards, and it was on 2 big drafts of cattle that come from the McCurries. They were black baldy steers, grass only. I mean, you can imagine the outstanding condition those cattle were in. He sells 333 head in one draft, weigh 818 at 180.25. And as impressive as that was, the big brothers come in right behind him. 150 of them weigh 908 at $180. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.